All right, Dan, let's talk to San Francisco 49ers. Big number here, 10 and a half. Big number. It feels like this is a team that everyone wants to fade this year. And I got to be honest, I was kind of, I was looking at fading them too, and then I started researching, and I've come around. What's your take just at a distance on the 49ers?
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be probably like the pros versus Joes kind of split
Okay.
as far as like the 49ers win total is concerned. I mean, let's be real, there's not many Joes who are betting preseason win totals. This is definitely
It's a great point.
more professional bets that people put down. But the 10 and a half, man, it just feels like a really good number. I mean, let's start with what we saw from the 49ers last year. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it couldn't be any worse for the 49ers as it was last year. They had so many injuries. They had horrible scheduling spots. They were 2-5 in one score games last year that led to that 6-11 record that they had when their season win total was 11.5. So what do you see with the 49ers? It's bounce back time for them. And Andy, they'll be poised to have a really great potential for having a bounce back because they have one of the easiest schedules in the league for a team who, outside of last season and the hangover season that they had after they lost the Super Bowl, they've been an elite Super Bowl contender pretty much for the 9 years that Shanahan has been there. So again, one of the easiest schedules in the league. Not only that, Andy, they also sit top 5, top 3 in the rest differential as well. So really nice schedule. Really nice scheduling spots. But for me, we're going back to when we've talked about these teams are really going to go how the quarterback goes. And it's not so much that I think this team is going to go how Purdy goes. It's just the question of, is he going to be able to live up to the hype of the contract that he just got, right? A massive contract. They had a really good free agency, I would argue, because they got rid of a lot of the huge contracts that they had bogging them down, basically let all their guys walk. I think Deebo Samuel leaving, that's a net nothing. They addressed a lot of their needs in the draft because they drafted for position, and a lot of them were defensive. And let's not forget that Robert Saleh is coming back to town. And the only reason that he was a head coaching candidate was what an absolute stud he is as a defensive coordinator. I don't think he really meshed well as a head coach. Some of these guys who are coordinators, they're not just cut out to be head coaches. But as a defensive coordinator, Saleh is top 2 in the league, right? And he's got a lot of talent behind him. For me, though, man, Christian McCaffrey, do we know if he comes back to form? We don't know. How does Purdy look with basically a whole new look wide receiver core? The 10 and a half just feels right. I lean ever so slightly to the under, Andy, simply because the market and the sharps, they love the over for this team. And I just don't know if I'm as in love as this team heading into the season as the market maybe quite is, with all those question marks surrounding them, though they do seem poised that everything's lined up for them to have that bounce back for sure.
Yeah, so they lose Greenlaw, they lost Fonga, but they already got his replacement. So again, when you say net nothing, they lost Debo, but Pearsall was coming off we'll call it an injury that he got shot.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of an injury. Expect him to take a big leap forward. Jawan Jennings, now he wants a new contract, but I imagine they'll get that worked out. Ayuk coming off ACL. I was stunned. PFF had their offense ranked 4th last year. His team won 6 games. 15th in defense, 10th in special teams. So Pro Football Focus has them ranked pretty high. 12th ranked offensive line going into the season. 21st defensive line is a little bit concerning. And then I go to the schedule. I said this in the chat. It looks like they made it themselves. It looks like the league was
really
like,
does.
Here, who do you want to play?
Yeah,
this is the schedule. At Seahawks, at Saints, Cardinals, Jags, at Rams, at Bucks, Falcons, at Texans, at Giants, Rams, at Cardinals, Panthers, at Browns, Titans, at Colts, Bears, Seahawks. What is this schedule? This is like their hardest game, I think, might be at Bucks. That legit might be the toughest game on paper. Because of that schedule, I can't believe I'm going to take an over on a 10.5 total on
Yeah.
a team that won 6
Well, it makes
games.
sense.
But this schedule is ridiculous. If Purdy stays healthy and some of these other guys stay healthy, I'm going the over. If I get burned on a Purdy injury or McCaffrey's not 100% or something goes wrong, but I'm with you about Saleh. He's fantastic on defense, and this schedule to me is everything. This is one of the craziest schedules I've seen. So I'm going to lean.
And that's why, Andy, for me, like on paper, I want to do an under, but on paper, you have to also factor in the schedule and I mean, this is the easiest schedule in the NFL. I mean, and their toughest games will all be games that are in the division. And really, when you're asking of what they're going to do in the division, the 2 toughest games are going to be when they have to face off against the Rams. So that for me, if I had to pick, that 10.5 just like I could see 10 wins. So that's why I lean towards that under. But again, the market disagrees with me, and I completely agree with you. The schedule is the make or break point, because you could also start off poorly as the 49ers, like sometimes they do. But Kyle Shanahan, after the bye week, the record speaks for itself. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but after the bye week, Shanahan coach teams go on absolute tears, and the schedule sets up. So you could be feeling like your under's looking really good, and then that back half of the schedule just blows it up in your face, because they could go on a complete win out streak, head into the playoffs as the hottest team in the NFL. That's a completely potential thing to happen.
All right, so you're gonna slightly lean under. Certainly not a play. I'm not betting this one, but just for purposes of the video. All
right, we're head to head again, Andy. Now all things are right in the world.
We've
been agreeing way too much, so now we're head to head again.